I installed the Daytona Twin Tech ignition. It's the TC88. It's the race ignition, fully adjustable ignition on the 2000 FX DX. Got it in yesterday. I was extremely excited, so I wanted to get it on the bike, and I had limited time because I was getting ready to leave for work, so I did not film it. I knew I told you guys that I would film it, but it's a super easy install. I'll walk you through and show you kind of what you need to take apart and what you need to do to get to it. But man, this thing is amazing. So the first thing I noticed about this ignition on the bike was, before that with the stock ignition, I had to choke the bike. Once I would choke the bike, I would have to sit there for a while, wait for it to heat up. It was usually about 5-6 minutes, slowly pushing in the choke until it was idling where I wanted it to idle and running smoothly. Sometimes if I was in a hurry, I would have to push the choke in and kind of give it a little bit of throttle the entire time until the bike was warmed up. So with the Daytona Twin Tech ignition, the first thing that I noticed was, so the factory settings on the Daytona Twin Tech, they tell you for a factory bike to run 1, which is your multi-point spark. So what that does is it keeps a continuous multi-spark on the bike at low idle to avoid fouling your plugs. That way you don't get spark pop, anything like that, and it keeps from fouling them spark plugs. So I set it on mode 1, which is the multi-spark, and then I set my advance and my timing both at 5, which is what it suggested. It said that if your engine is hopped up, you can set your advance to 7. So I'm going to run it on 5. I may adjust it and bring it to 6 and see how it's running. But right now, when I fire the bike up, I choke it for about 30 seconds, fire that bike up, and it runs super smooth. You can tell the difference with the multi-spark setting on there. So it was about 30 seconds I had to have it choked, and then pushed it right in. The bike was running so much better. You could tell that it was running better. You could actually hear the lobes on the cam a lot cleaner. It gives you that potato kind of sound with it. So also, I set my rev limiter at 6,200 RPM, and man, does that make a difference. I revved it up. I was out here revving it up, and it was bouncing off that rev limiter, and it sounds so much better, you guys. So super happy I got that on there. I ended up getting it from Parts Giant out in Michigan. It was $273, which is not bad. I talked to a couple people, and they said that the cost on that unit itself as a dealer is $275. So I got it shipped to my house for $293. That's with tax, shipping, everything. So it's an amazing price for an amazing product. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what I did to get it installed here. Follow your factory settings on there. You can always advance it just a little bit if you need to, but the way it's running right now, super strong. I'm going to leave it alone. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's running good, don't waste your time adjusting it. So that's what I'm going to do. Also here, before too long, sometime this week, I want to get you guys a video, a comparison video on helmets. I do currently have 3 helmets. I have a Bell, a Biltwell lane splitter, and I just got a modular Harley helmet. So this is the modular Harley. It is the full face Harley helmet, completely modular. So this is what I wanted. It's got the internal visor in it. So I got my son a modular helmet, so I kind of wanted to try one myself because it's super easy to put on for him. Once you pop this visor part forward like this, sliding it on is a breeze. It's super easy. Also, another reason why I wanted to get another helmet was my other two helmets are in a size large, and I thought, oh yeah, you know, that'll be great, size large. I tried one on, it fit, it wasn't too tight, it wasn't too loose. Well, after riding them and sweating in them, they kind of stretch out a little bit, so now my larges are a little large and I have to tighten this down really tight to keep it on. So this full face modular is a medium and it fits super snug. I will also be ordering a Cena for this so that I can have that compatibility with my wife and son while we're riding on the motorcycles. That way I can still talk to them and it'll be a good time. But I will do a comparison video on all three of those helmets and go over the pros and cons, but let's get into this. So it was actually a super simple install. So you got to take the seat off pretty much like you got to do with any single Harley Davidson. Anytime you're doing almost anything to the bike, the seat or the tank got to come off, unfortunately. Give it a little wiggle. Bam. So once you get the seat off, what you're going to notice in here is that, see how good you guys can see it. So right here where this screw is, that's actually holding the Daytona Twin Tech in there. Kinda hard to see right there, but it is back inside that cavity under the seat. So what you need to do is you need to slide your side cover off. Once you get that off, there are two bolts in here. These two bolts back here, those need to come off. That's what holds your ignition coil onto the bike. There's also two bolts back here. There's one here and there's one up here that you have to get to from inside. It's actually that guy right there. Once you do that, this whole plate right here comes off with all your electronics, your fuses, all that stuff. And then this plate here comes off and you have full access back there. All you do is unscrew the two bolts that are holding the factory ignition in, disconnect it, put the connections back where they need to be, reinstall it back onto the bike. Put your seat back on and call it a day. So the next thing I'm going to do for this bike is I am going to get a saddleman seat, because I don't have a problem with this seat, this factory seat. I think it's called like the Badlander or whatever, this Harley seat. This is actually probably, I think, one of the best factory seats Harley ever made. It does give you a little bit of back support on it, but we will get a saddleman seat on there. Right now I am trying to determine whether or not I want to go with a black saddleman seat or whether or not I want to go with the brown. Stay tuned, be patient. We will get you a video up. We'll get you a helmet comparison, the three pretty popular brands of helmet. I did want to get a Simpson helmet, but I got that Harley one at a price I could not disagree with. So I actually like the venting on it and the modularity of it better. So stay tuned. We will get that video up here for you, and thank you guys again for watching.